my name is Cindy Lang, and this is my video for Learning Check 8, and I'm just going to jump right into it because I went way over my last video. So for differentiated instruction, I have the hardest time saying that sometimes. Definition, I'd say, like, based off the video and book, it's just a way to shake up the lesson, but also and like provide students with multiple avenues and options for them to take in information, convey their ideas, like choice. That was a really big thing that I took away, like how to have your students show what they know in multiple ways and also take in that content. 3 things that I learned from the book. I know, like, the not section, it was like is not individualized instruction, like for each student you're like breaking it down for each one. And then I also laughed because in the book it's like, that's really a lot of work and almost like a really hard task, and I would have to agree, but just like looking at the whole too, and then trying to like get to know your students and then break it down for each of them. But I guess not break it down for each of them, but like provide multiple avenues and ways that they could get this information and content in their head and then convey it back to you. And then I also thought the flow chart was really helpful in the book. I don't have my book on me. Oops. But anyway, like, I don't know what page it was, but it was like just a really interesting example, like, of how a teacher provides like goes along a lesson, provides different examples of content, and then like breaks it down even further, goes to small groups, big groups. Like, I just thought that was really interesting because I didn't know how to apply that. And I also thought something the book mentioned was like it is organic and dynamic, and I think a big thing too is like being flexible as a teacher and like being able to adapt with your students, like not just be stuck on one way, like this is how we're going to do it and we all have to do it this way. No, don't do that. Like, it's all like your students have different needs, and then paying attention to your students' needs and then responding in appropriate ways accordingly, and like accepting all your students and like just being open, I think, flexible, like I said. And I also think that was mentioned in the video. And then something that I'm like looking forward to is just getting to know all my students and like how I can meet their needs and like adapt things accordingly, and yeah, and take their perspective also, because I think when I look back at my schooling, it's like there was a certain way to do things, but that's not how it is. Like, you have to broaden your mind, broaden the mindset. I also, so for universal design for learning, it, like, as a definition, I think the big thing was just like removing the barriers in the environment. Like, and I think the book also mentioned like the different disabilities of the school was a big thing, and then making the learning environment like that offers options for diverse learners' needs. What was the other question? Oh, so 2 ideas I learned was like, from the video, a big thing was like minimize the barriers, maximize the learning for all students, and I think that's a really big takeaway. And I also really liked the 3 core principal ideas of UDL, which was like provide multiple means of engagement, means of representation, and means of action and expression. And I think that's just a really helpful thing, especially when building your lessons and involving in the classroom, because you're always going to need to like change and adapt on the spot too for how you're meeting students' needs. And like, if they're not getting it, like, okay, we need to have other ways to engage, other ways to represent for all students, because like for me personally, and as an example, like when someone tells me like verbally to do something or instructions, I might not get it, but like visually, that really helps. So that's a personal example. But anyway, yeah, that's all I have.